He's a three-weight world champion who is desperate to be a household name. And this platform...
And still, WBC lightweight champion of the world, Shakur Stevenson!
A full fight between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez is the kind of collision boxing lives for. Speed against explosiveness. Precision against raw aggression. Two undefeated fighters stepping into the same ring with pride, legacy, and dominance hanging on every exchange. There's no safety here, no room to recover from mistakes. Every second feels violent, tense, and career-altering. This isn't just another super fight. It's controlled chaos with everything at stake.
Like, I felt like you knew how little Lomachenko was, and you kind of capitalized off of that.
Heck no, that man was a lot to deal with.
Teofimo Lopez has always fought like a man determined to disrupt the entire sport. That mindset became both his greatest strength and his biggest risk. From the moment he entered the lightweight division, he refused to wait behind anyone. He kicked down doors, challenged champions, and ripped titles away from fighters already considered legends. Aggressive, explosive, and fearless, Teofimo never allowed boxing to dictate his path. Shakur Stevenson came through in a completely different way. Calm, disciplined, and methodical. Where Teofimo embraced unpredictability, Shakur mastered control.
Is this going to be a great fight? I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I could see you having a little reservations, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite.
Shakur Stevenson built his reputation step by step. Olympic silver medalist, then world champion across multiple divisions. Every move calculated. Every opponent carefully studied before the first punch was thrown. While Teofimo Lopez thrived in chaos, Shakur dominated through precision and patience. For years, their careers moved side by side like two opposite forces heading toward the same destination. Two elite fighters. Two completely different mentalities. Eventually, those roads were always going to collide. This fight wasn't created by hype or manufactured drama. The division demanded it. Their histories demanded it. At some point, there was simply no avoiding this showdown.
He's full of confidence. He's got a job to do tonight. It is a short notice change, a different opponent, but he's the sort of guy that will adapt beautifully.
Yeah, but he needs to put on a clinical, hard.
That's why this fight carried real pressure. There were no gimmicks attached to it. No comeback narrative, no weight excuses, no manufactured controversy. Just two undefeated fighters in their prime at 135 pounds, standing face-to-face after years of earning their place. One man would leave the ring completely validated. The other would leave with doubts surrounding his name for the first time. Everyone inside that arena could feel the tension. This wasn't the kind of fight you lose quietly. One wrong decision, one bad round, one moment of hesitation, and suddenly your entire resume gets questioned. The stakes were real, brutal, and impossible to ignore from the second the opening bell rang.
I don't know if he wants it or not, but it's tough to have the conditioning. See, a guy can take your conditioning if he make you fight fast like this.
A lot of people ain't give us the opportunity to show how great we is. A lot of the fighters, I want to say, either they ducked or found a business way not to get in front of me. And I feel like with him, he kind of gave me the opportunity of a lifetime now.
The contrast becomes obvious the moment they walk into the ring. Shakur Stevenson moves without urgency, his expression completely emotionless. He carries himself like a fighter who already believes the pace of the fight belongs to him. Every small pivot, every slight movement of the gloves, every half step backward is calculated with purpose. He doesn't react. He predicts. Teofimo Lopez enters with the opposite energy. He wants intensity. He wants emotion. He feeds off noise, momentum, and violent exchanges. That chaos is not an act. It's the foundation of how he fights. Teofimo believes that if he can create disruption early enough, he can destroy patterns before they ever develop. But that's the danger against Shakur, because Shakur builds patterns. He studies them, controls them, and slowly breaks opponents apart piece by piece. before the opening bell even sounds. The ring already feels like a chessboard waiting for war.
The signature performance with an upset win to claim this title. His second-time lineal champion, Teofimo Lopez.
This is what he does well, Paddy. He takes little small steps back. He's even doing it with Shakur. No, Shakur wants to attack. He's taking little steps back. That just makes you reset a little bit.
Round 1 begins, and the first truths immediately reveal themselves. Teofimo Lopez starts fast, but it's controlled aggression rather than reckless pressure. Sharp entries, explosive feints, and sudden bursts of speed ignite the crowd. Yet most of the reactions come from the movement itself rather than the damage being inflicted. Shakur Stevenson isn't trying to dominate the arena, he's dominating inches. Every retreat is measured, every pivot quietly removes an angle of attack. His punches aren't thrown with dramatic force, but they land clean, accurate, and frustratingly effective.
He put Chamberlain down, and that's how he got this opportunity. As the southpaw jab and the puzzle, as the guys were saying, to solve for Padley, but he'll give it a real go.
By the end of the opening round, Teofimo Lopez has already burned more energy than he planned to, while Shakur Stevenson has spent only what he intended. That's the hidden science of elite-level boxing. Every missed punch drains oxygen. Every forced reset chips away at stamina. Teofimo's explosive style carries invisible costs that only become obvious in the later rounds. Shakur's subtraction-based defense works differently, quiet, efficient, and constantly accumulating advantages. The effect is already beginning to show. Judges may not fully recognize it yet, but fighters always feel it. And the mental exhaustion is often worse than a clean punch, because it arrives slowly without warning.
It's an unbelievable story, isn't it?
Life-changing.
And as you said, Darren, only boxing can bring these stories up. I don't know any other sport that can do it.
And do you know what as well? His Excellency will have seen this with Josh Padley and with Martin Bacoli. And if they both lose tonight, they'll be back.
I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
By round 2, the momentum begins to shift subtly. Teofimo Lopez remains dangerous, still pressing forward with knockout power that has already destroyed opponents at lightweight. But the openings he found earlier are quietly disappearing. Shakur Stevenson starts landing shots that may not look devastating physically, but mentally they sting. A jab interrupts Teofimo's rhythm before he can plant his feet. A smooth pivot removes an angle just as a right hand loads up. A counter lands cleanly, and Shakur is already gone before a response can come. The pressure remains, but its effectiveness is fading. You can hear it inside the corners. Teofimo's team grows louder, more urgent, almost desperate for adjustments. Shakur's corner stays calm because everything unfolding is exactly what they expected. Even the crowd begins to sense it. Excitement slowly transforms into tension. Movement alone no longer thrills the audience anymore. Consequences do. Little by little, the fight starts slipping into Shakur's control.
So you've got, minutes to get the job done.
Bouncing on his feet. Full of fire still, Padley.
Round 3 tightens the pressure even further. Teofimo Lopez still possesses dangerous speed, but is slowed just enough for Shakur Stevenson to exploit. Casual viewers may miss it, but elite fighters never do. Shakur stops reacting and begins orchestrating the fight completely. He draws punches he already planned to evade. He forces resets over and over again. Tiny mistakes start piling up. Teofimo's hands remain low for half a second too long. His footwork hesitates for just a moment too long. Frustration slowly leaks into his aggression. Not reckless swings, but subtle overreaches born from desperation. That's when elite ring intelligence becomes suffocating. Shakur doesn't overwhelm opponents with brute force. He overwhelms them with control. The fights shift from competitive chaos into structure, and structure always favors a fighter who understands it best.
Two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science.
The psychological damage is now becoming visible. Teofimo Lopez starts questioning himself between exchanges. Why can't I trap him? Why does he always seem one step ahead? Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson remains completely composed, calculating every moment with cold precision. How much pressure can I absorb before his energy fades? How much risk is actually necessary? This is ring IQ against raw volatility. Intelligence inside the ring doesn't panic, and it never wastes movement. Every clean punch Shakur lands becomes another reminder that courage alone is not enough at this level.
There's a body shot from Taylor. Lopez, we're going to come through the front door. He does so with a two-punch combination. Taylor looking to deliver on the inside. Left hook came in from Lopez. Good exchange.
By round 4, the breaking point begins to emerge. Teofimo Lopez searches desperately for the equalizer, the one punch capable of changing everything instantly. That urgency makes him dangerous, but it also makes him predictable. Shakur Stevenson stays patient. He refuses to chase exchanges or overcommit emotionally. Instead, he measures timing carefully, waits for Teofimo to fully commit, and fires back with a perfectly placed counter. It isn't flashy, but it's sharp, accurate, and devastating. Teofimo stumbles not only from the impact itself, but from the realization that the opening he gambled on never truly existed. From that point forward, Shakur imposes complete control. Every punch is thrown with purpose instead of emotion. He closes distance only when necessary and repeatedly forces Teofimo to restart exchanges from zero. Even the referee becomes more alert as every movement inside the ring turns increasingly methodical.
But Stevenson had him down. For the second time, that was sweet. And Padley felt that one worse than the first. The counter eight, he'll try and get up. He does. He's got 50.
As the championship round arrives, the story is written clearly across both fighters' bodies. Teofimo Lopez moves heavier now. The intent behind his punches still exists, but the sharpness and snap have faded. Shakur Stevenson, meanwhile, looks almost untouched by time. Calm breathing, steady eyes, disciplined footwork, and airtight defense have transformed into total dominance, not through overwhelming violence, but through constant denial, denying his opponent's space, rhythm, recovery, and even control of time itself. If this fight reaches the scorecards, the decision will feel undeniable. If it ends late, it will feel inevitable. Shakur has turned danger into information. Teofimo's explosive volatility has been systematically neutralized. After the final bell, the analysis becomes almost unanimous. Max Kellerman argues that super fights reveal truth rather than hype. Roy Jones Jr. points to footwork and distance control as the real story of the fight. Shane Mosley highlights Shakur's manipulation of tempo and rhythm throughout every round. Fighters like Bernie the Boxer and Jermaine Ortiz agree on one thing. Shakur cannot be pressured like ordinary fighters. The overall message becomes impossible to ignore. Viral fame may create attention, but mastery is what survives under the brightest lights. Speed creates highlights, but discipline wins fights. Boxing rewards preparation, repetition, and calm decision-making under pressure. Younger fighters watching that night witnessed a blueprint. In just a few unforgiving rounds, the sport reminded everyone that chaos alone is never enough.
It was low, it was low.
Good shot. Oh, good right. He's just pummeling away now, Stevenson.
For Shakur Stevenson, this night becomes validation at the highest level. Pound-for-pound conversations are no longer hypothetical. They are earned through performance. His patience, composure, and refusal to rush prove that he is a complete fighter. Superstardom does not always require chaos. Sometimes it comes from the ability to impose absolute order inside the ring. For Teofimo Lopez, the defeat is painful but transformative. It is not the end of his story, but it changes him forever. Fights like this educate fighters. They refine them. They force recalibration. Boxing history rarely remembers excuses. It remembers defining moments like this one. This was never just another fight. It was a statement about what boxing truly values once the hype disappears. Skill spoke for itself. Patience prevailed. Discipline dominated. One fighter imposed reality, while the other collided with it head-on. Madison Square Garden in 2025 will be remembered not for drama, but for clarity. This was the night Shakur Stevenson proved that mastery still rules boxing, a performance worthy of the history books. A masterclass in timing, control, and precision. Proof that chaos may entertain the audience, but control conquers the sport.